Hello, Dave.
Ian.
And hello, Jonny. Welcome.
Dave, Ian.
the virtual blanket fort. So we have Jonny with us today from Attention for Detail. Jonny has been a part of the show family for a very long time.
Woven into the fabric of our undershorts. Yeah.
Yes. We've been on his show. He's been on the show, I think, before. And we've also interacted a bunch with FMK cars back and forth and just like keeping tabs on each other and everything.
Yes.
And he's also our resident Pontiac expert.
I've strayed away from. Well, I only have one Pontiac now. I decided to take a step away from the pile of Grand Prix's of garbage. So, okay. I mean, I still love the cars. I still know a lot about them, but it's just like I've gone to play with the Fire Chicken now. 76 Trans Am. I absolutely love the thing. But, I always wanted 77, 78, so that's the Smokey and the Bandit era.
Yeah.
But I don't like black, so I don't want the traditional black and gold because I hate getting into an oven. If you guys can relate there, but anytime, I feel like you open a black car, it's just like, just that heat wave, and it's no good.
Well, plus you run a detail business, so then they're hard to keep clean, right?
Well, that's the funny thing is black is absolutely the worst. It's a love and hate relationship with black because you'll never outshine it because it is a literal mirror. So, on the other hand, all the scratches, dents, any like paint effects will show, but they shine just absolutely amazing.
Right, nothing quite like it, right?
Right.
And I do like that when we say that you're a Pontiac expert, and then you followed up with the sentence, "Well, I only have one now." That all that does is just confirm the sentence that we just said of you being a Pontiac expert, right? Because yeah, I've owned a total of 4 or 5 Grand Prix.
Okay, and and I've owned. There's one time I owned 2 Grand Prix, and it was like, okay, and eventually, my OCD kicked in, and I got really nice lights in my shop, like high-powered LEDs, and once I saw that my front bumper was like 2 or 3 different shades of white, I was like, I'm done. That's driving me crazy. So,
fun fact, I used to work in the factory for like 2 days where the Pontiac Grand Prix front bumpers were made and painted.
So it's your fault.
Yes. Yeah, probably. Yeah. We were in the paint kitchen, like moving 55-gallon drums of acetone and stuff around. And cool. So I'm sure it was like a job I had like for like 2 days, like right out of high school,
I'm sorry, you had a job for 2 days?
Yeah, they didn't ask me to come back. Yeah.
Hey, I can relate to that. I had a temp service job.
That's what mine was.
Through a company that makes parts for Ford, like a third-party company.
Okay.
And all we had to do was take a part that was, I don't know, maybe 4 inches long, spin it around to check for an exposed wire. Okay. As long as it didn't have the exposed wire, it was okay. So I'm like literally spinning them in my hand like a top, and they're like, 2 days later, they're like, yeah, we don't need you back. Wow. And I'm like, hey, I didn't see anything,
Okay. So if someone's Ford catches on fire, you have nothing to do with it. Right?
Correct.
Let me think on that one.
Yeah. And Jonny just left the right call. Yeah.
Jonny, as your counsel, I urge you to say correct.
Yeah.
Well, it was. We've been going back and forth a little bit, trying to figure out when to get you on the show and everything like that. And then I was on vacation this last week, and inspiration struck because I saw something that made it just like imperative that we have you and only you on the show this week.
Now you're gonna scare me.
And I am so incredibly excited about this.
Okay.
I saw this in Telluride, Colorado, which is sort of like a very sort of like
It's
ritzy
ritzy.
ski town.
Yeah.
Where they have like a film festival every year and all that. Anyway, let's get to this. My eyes. I saw it from like across the street between two cars. I saw a corner of it, and then something looked off. And I went to investigate, and I'm very happy that I did.
You just shoved your children to the ground and said, "Daddy needs to take a picture," and ran over.
That is exactly what happened.
Okay.
That is 100% what happened.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. So, yeah, Dave, go ahead and show the people what I'm talking about.
Okay, that's a Pontiac Bonneville rear end
Wow.
attached to a motorcycle.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
And as you investigate more, there's more that becomes apparent, because already this is an amazing, like, I need to know more sort of engineering project.
Yeah, he's got some junk in the trunk.
Yeah. Oh, I believe he does. So let's go to the next couple pictures.
Okay, so here's picture 2. This looks like a rear 3/4 view.
Yeah. So like as my questions are being answered and new ones are coming up as I'm going.
Right. For anybody just listening to the audio, this is blue, like blue. Like it looks like my Vigan blue.
Can we talk about them exhaust tips though?
Yes,
right?
Yes, we
They're
can
terrible.
absolutely talk about them. So there are I don't even know what those are called, but there's 3 little holes on each one. So
You know what those look like is those multiple 12-volt like things that you can put in your car.
okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
the
about.
cigarette lighter expander adapter thingy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. They look exactly like that.
What I want to draw your attention to, though,
oh, Ian, there's so much.
there's so much, is the badge on the trunk lid, right? Because that tells us a little more, and that becomes relevant. It's going to become relevant in a few minutes here.
I know what that means.
Okay, Johnny, break it down for us. So this is the SSEI badge, which
Yes.
I have seen on Bonnevilles before, I think.
I do believe that's the supercharged badge for the Bonnevilles.
It is. That is the supercharged 3.8.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah. Okay.
There is more. So go to the next picture, because
We're not
okay,
done
go.
here.
Oh, go ahead.
How about the Walmart LED
Yes, light strip.
there and
Yes.
the backup camera?
Yes, that's just tacked in with a GoPro mount on the rear spoiler.
Oh, there are so many details in here to just like dive into, and I went hard on the rabbit hole of like, what is this that I'm looking at?
Okay.
You can tell this guy takes pride in it, because do you see the water beading there? The guy obviously just waxed us a couple of days ago, so he obviously takes care of his ride.
I mean, if this was yours, Johnny, come on, how would you be treating this? Okay. All right. So then we have a sunroof.
Yes, I love this detail that he used the roof with I believe that's a factory Pontiac sunroof.
Now, you know what this could be? This could be one of those, like, 1-2 people sleepers, you know?
Right. They kind of pop
Maybe
it up.
that's like, you know, maybe he sleeps under there and he's got the moonroof too.
Yeah.
So I don't think that that's what it is, because of something that is going to come up in another picture. But
Okay.
I like the thought. I like the generous thought. I do also like the luggage rack in like a very like weak nod to practicality here.
I think the better question here is, would you road trip this with Dave to Road America?
I mean, it's a one-seater.
That was a bed, though. Dave
But
could
yes.
sleep in the back.
If I could just curl up in the back with my Nintendo Switch and a sack of taffy, I might be into it.
Sleep, Dave!
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next picture, the front of this Mammer Jammer.
So the front is interesting because it tells us like what motorcycle this is. This is a Honda Gullwing, and I believe it's a GL 1200.
Okay.
So that's like 83 to 87.
Okay. Ian,
And I believe the Bonneville is 96 to 99.
Oh my God! They used the front bumper of the Bonneville too.
Oh yeah.
Look, there's the headlights, or the fog lights.
Yep.
Right.
Also, notice
now they're induction nozzles.
because notice the mesh behind the driver's seat. And then go to the next picture.
I will say, instead of that being a sleeper, I think it's a cage.
I think it's an engine.
No.
I think the 3.8, the supercharged 3.8 is back there.
No.
Because go to the next picture.
Okay.
That's the shift knob backwards. No, don't go there because that doesn't tell you anything. That's from the Honda. This is where the madness lies right here. Yes. That is a shift knob from a 96 to 99 Bonneville, but backwards.
Yep.
It's backwards. So it's in park right now, which means the whole thing's been flipped, right?
Oh my God.
The engine is behind him. This has the running gear from the Bonneville, I think, in it.
I think you're right.
I think it sounds terrifying. And the dash is the Bonneville dash.
Yep.
That's the Bonneville dash?
Yes.
Yep. Well, it's a little bit more than that.
No,
I don't remember the 3 gauges to the right. But
so I looked at the 96 to 99 refresh had that driver information screen and the 3 dials in the SSEI trim.
Oh my God.
And then these are Honda Goldwing handlebars. So it's just a Goldwing and a Bonneville mashed together. It's amazing.
that is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, is it? No,
Dave.
I kind of want to cry, and I think I might have peed a little bit. Go on, Johnny. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, so this is a pretty low chance that this is a Carstanza, right?
Well, so I asked Ian before the show because he was super pumped about showing us this, and I said, "Is it a Carstanza?" And he just paused and like looked into the camera and was like, "Well, we're going to talk about it." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like,
So I can think of 2 more motorcycles that are by far scarier and worse than this. Well, not worse, but they look a lot better. And that's the Dodge Tomahawk, which was a prototype by Dodge with a V10 on it.
right, the Viper
Right.
V10.
Viper motor. And then there's a bike called the Boss Hoss, which was pretty much a cruiser with a V8 on it.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Wow. Johnny, if you had to, well, oh my God, there's so many questions. So this does not infuriate me, right? This is what I'm going through right now with this is analysis.
isn't the
paralysis.
BMW grill?
Right? Yeah. It's like I have so many legitimate questions that are coming from a good place that I don't know where to start. Okay, Johnny, if you had to take any Pontiac product and throw it on the back end of a motorcycle, what would you do and why?
That is a good question.
Because I'm guessing it's not Bonneville. Bonneville's not the first thing that you would go to.
No. The first thing that would come to mind would be like a Trans Am or something like, ooh, you know, or maybe even an Aztec, because you can only make those better, right?
Okay.
But at least with the Aztec, you could camp in it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably have to put like a 90s Firebird or something on the back of that.
Right.
And get rid of the supercharged V6 and put an LS in it or something.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is that they needed something transverse, right? So because it's I think the drivetrain.
Ian, there are no rules at this point.
Well, you can, if you wanted still transverse, there was the Pontiac Grand Prix GXP, which was the LS4 V8.
Right.
The one that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's examining why there's so many questions. I think the first question that I would have would be around. It would be mostly like an economics question. Like, what was the opportunity cost? Like, what did you not do in your life to accomplish this?
Right. Like, what financially fell by the wayside?
Right.
Okay.
Which of your children didn't go to college because this happened?
Okay.
You think this guy had children?
Well, yeah, I don't know
about you, but my oldest boy would be like, "Daddy, what are you doing?"
And he did build a pretty explicitly one-seat vehicle. So
yeah.
Did we check the top of the trunk lid for holes for breathing?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's a good question. That was the other thought I had was, I think maybe that that trunk might be functional, because I think this is the engine. Yeah, this is the engine cover, and then he has also a trunk. So this is like a mid-engine layout.
Yeah, and I think he can pop open the sunroof or moonroof for extra cooling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually kind of. I go through cycles with this, like where I think maybe it's actually pretty well thought out.
Ian, it has Florida plates, man.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah. This person drove this from Florida to Southwest Colorado.
Oh wow.
Let's just say, let's say generously, I'm saying he. Come on, who are we kidding? Departed from Tallahassee,
right,
and ended up in Telluride, Colorado. Let's see, what's the estimated time on that?
Ian's mapping it.
I am mapping.
Wait. There's 2 backup cameras on this thing?
Yeah, there are 2 backup cameras.
Good catch, Johnny.
Yeah.
Is that
there's 2 backup cameras. There's a whole lot to dive into on the handlebars. Like, so many gadgets and whatever.
And holders for other gadgets.
So in a normal vehicle, that is a 27-hour drive. It's 1,800 miles.
Oh my God.
Hey, you got to give this guy props. Instead of using a motorcycle seat, he has the Bonneville seat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Is that the Pontiac seat?
Yeah, that's a Pontiac seat.
Oh my God, Johnny. See, this is why you're on the show. And this person has the audacity to leave their gloves right there. Ian, you should have just hopped on and started it up. And so this is the gas pedal, but now it was the brake pedal, or is it?
Oh, weird.
Or is it throttle by standard motorcycle?
It's a brake pedal.
It's probably
there's a cable there, but
the right foot would normally be the brake pedal on a bike anyway. So that probably is the brake pedal from the Pontiac.
It is a brake pedal.
Yeah.
Brake pedal cover.
Anti-lock. It's upside down. Anti-lock brake system. Is that the Pontiac brake pedal? It has to be, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And then I'm guessing the throttle linkage is probably on the handlebars.
Right. You'd think it'd still be the twist control for the throttle.
I mean, you have to admit, this is a really impressive engineering feat.
It is. Though, there
is no good answer for.
Right. Is this piece on the handlebars, is that pulled straight out of the Bonneville?
That's Goldwing.
Okay, that's Goldwing. Okay. Wow.
So who knows if that's functional?
Right.
There are also very many charge cables that are disconnected.
Yeah.
There's a lot
floating
of
around.
mounting too, like
Yeah.
phone mount. You have another mount.
Yeah.
The camera pointing at you, so maybe this guy's like a YouTube star or something.
Yeah.
This person is busy.
Yes.
You know, they're busy building Frankenstein projects. They're busy when they're driving. I mean, they have things going on.
How did you not stake this out just to meet the owner?
I really wish I could have.
Yeah.
I stayed around as long as I could, and I did not meet the owner. I have.
So next time you see this, you put a $5 bill and a pack of smokes on a fishing hook, and you just dangle it out there like, oh, you almost had it.
Ian, why did you not leave a note?
I was too flustered. I was just like, I have to document this, and then I thought about that later. And then by the time I went back, it was gone.
Oh my God, this maniac needs to be on our show.
Anything like me, the moment I would have saw that, I would just, all my train of thought just gone.
Right. Yeah. You could have like the most important stuff to do.
Yeah. But also, like, I like that, you know, where the engine would normally be on a Goldwing, they just have pads.
Yes. Yeah. I noticed that on the front is just like some plastic, just for like maybe aerodynamics or just, yeah.
I think it's like a knee pad, right? I don't know. There are so many questions.
And are these headlights here? What are those?
Yeah, those are like LED headlights, right?
No, fog lights. Those are cheap fog lights.
Okay. Like Pep Boy fog lights.
And then you got like a rubber, like, I don't know, not floor mat, but
yeah, like a rubber sheet.
Yeah, like a rubber sheet there.
Like you would put around a garden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if a Pontiac Bonneville parts bin is not off limits for your motorcycle build, neither is Home Depot's garden center.
Right,
well,
exactly.
That's why he's at the hardware store.
Yeah, I should have checked in Ace Hardware. That's a good point. I didn't think about it.
See, God damn it, this is why Johnny's on the show. Oh, wow.
It's also just a weird, I mean, this is like number 100 on the list of concerns, really. But like, the picking of that generation Goldwing with that generation Bonneville is really strange, too, because like, that generation Bonneville is like very like swoopy and curvy. Right.
So,
and that Goldwing is very like squared off at the front, you know?
Right.
So what if he had a Pontiac Bonneville and it got into a front end accident, and then some truck ran over the back of his Goldwing?
See?
And he was sitting here thinking like, I have an idea here.
Right. He's like, I've got chocolate and peanut butter. Right. Yeah. No, yeah, so that's like what year do you think this came off of, Johnny?
You're definitely in the ballpark there.
Yeah.
Like, definitely, I think I can't remember. Like, I'm not too familiar with the Bonnevilles, but I knew that was a Bonneville right off the bat.
Right.
I think it changed in 2000.
It did, yeah. It changed in 2000, so and it's definitely not a 2000.
Right, yeah. So I think we're going like 1999.
No, try 95.
95.
So there's the 92 to 99 is the 9th generation, Wikipedia tells me.
Okay.
And the facelift that I think this is from happened in 96.
Okay.
So
95 is a little early, so it's going to be 96 and on.
Yeah, 96 to 99, and I think it is the SSEI model because they had the dual exhausts.
Yep.
And that rear bumper is a true SSEI. So I don't think it's actually qualifies as a car stanza.
No, I don't think so. I think it's a car mixtape, like a car potpourri.
Yeah, it's a Frankenstein.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it. I mean, I appreciate all the hard work he put into that because, I can assure you that stuff's not easy.
Yeah.
And trying to solve the riddle of it all working together is another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I mean, the paint. What do we think? Your professional eye, the paint match on the blue between the front and the back.
The front looks a little darker, but I mean, you can really tell underneath the bottom of the bumper there.
Yeah.
Front bumper, it's a little darker, but it doesn't look bad. I mean, I like the little blue accent they put on the wheel there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks, neat.
I mean,
That's not a Pontiac wheel of the era, is it? That's
No.
like some sort of like cheap aftermarket wheel.
Yeah.
yeah. Let's see if I can get close in on the wheel here. That's another car. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely aftermarket.
Yeah.
But what the heck is taking up all the other studs? Because there's no way that's a 10 stud.
No.
It could be one of those wheels that has two different bolt patterns on it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a 5x114 and 5x100.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it looks like he just found like hole fillers or something.
Yeah, like just put blank studs in there. Yeah.
That's super. There's so many weird questions. Like, also, where's the fuel tank? Is it in?
Oh, it's right here. Look. There it is.
I mean, that's the fuel. Oh, you're right.
What if this had multiple gas tanks, though? What if that was one, that was two?
Right.
Was there one above the shifter?
No, sir, there can't be. That used to be the fuel tank, and now it's
Shifter.
yeah.
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 Amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in awe of the hubris of this person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I've done some custom stuff, and it was like, oh man, like there's a saying that custom ain't easy.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, this must have taken years to do, right? Like, and to get it to the point where you're comfortable driving it from Florida deep into the middle of Colorado.
Not comfortable, confident.
Yes, confident.
There we go. There we go.
Good. You're right.
Yeah. Wow.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I've had some crap boxes that I was scared to drive them across town, let alone to the next city.
Right. Amazing, Ian. I would say good job spotting this, but you probably spotted this from 10 miles out.
So what happened was so if you go one of the other angles, like going back across the street, you can see Telluride had like half the street blocked off for outdoor seating for restaurants. So you could you could get like to go. And then
gotcha. Yeah, over here.
Yeah, you can see back over here. So I was sitting back in there with my family, and I saw the back like tail light of the Bonneville. And it was that blue, and I've always liked that blue.
Sure.
And so I was like, oh wow, that from here that looks pretty clean. That's kind of a weird thing to see in Telluride.
Right.
And then I noticed that the car in front of it was parked pretty close, and I was like, It was like an optical illusion. So I just kept staring at it. And then finally, like, someone moved at the table that was like, 10 feet away from me. And I saw the rest of it. And I was like, I'll be back. And I just ran.
You just hurdled that little fence back there.
Yeah.
Like a track runner.
Yeah,
farming little kids.
Out of the way. Pappy needs to see a weird car.
This could be a car stanza emergency.
Yeah, you rip open your shirt like Apex adjacent Carstanza Patrol. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Inspector.
Yeah. Hang on. I'm writing that down. We're gonna make Carstanza inspector kits that we're gonna send. Johnny, you're gonna get the first one.
All right.
It's going in my work notes. Carstanza investigator kit. Okay.
So I also just want to point out that monster, if it does have the drivetrain that we think it does, has 240 horsepower.
Oh, they're snappy. The one that I had stuck way too much money in, that was probably around 300 horse. And it was fun to drive. I mean, it smoked the front tires. I had 18s on it at the time, and it light them up.
Was that a 3.8? Well, or
3.8 supercharged ship.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Pontiac's they made that motor forever, right? Like it was a pretty bulletproof motor.
It's even won awards and stuff for like one of the best engines to have. In fact, I've heard of people dropping the oil pans on them and just letting the motors run, like in hopes of watching this motor melt down, and it would run for days with no oil in it. like it was a motor.
Wow. Right on. Okay. All right. Well, Ian, good job.
Thank you.
Bringing hashtag content to the show, especially when Jonny's on.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I'm so glad that it didn't work out the last episode, because now we need your services.
Yes. Yeah, right? Serendipitous, if you will.
Yes, exactly.
So, Jonny, in addition to just being a badass and an amazing automotive detailer and a Pontiac knowledge base, right? A one-man walking internet forum of Pontiac knowledge. You built a Circle Track car and you've been sending us updates. So let's talk about Circle Track. What is Circle Track and why is it so rad?
Well, it's not like your normal NASCAR race, you know. Like NASCAR races are cool and everything, at least until recently. NASCAR races are all right, but you don't get that raw feeling of Circle Track racing.
Okay.
Which in Circle Track racing is another broad spectrum. You got asphalt racing, and you got dirt track racing. I've got both, and I've seen 2 people killed on a dirt track, and unfortunately, I choose not to take part in that, even though I've had family that raced in those, and I salute all of them. Like, good on you guys. Keep doing what you do.
Right.
But I've chosen to go on Circle Track racing on asphalt. My good friend of mine decided to invite me and my wife to the track last July, and I don't know if you guys ever felt that opening presents on Christmas Day kind of feeling, where you're just sitting there like, oh my god, like all this energy, like this is awesome, all that feeling and emotion came back, because I used to go there when I was 18, which was 20 years ago ish, and then to come back and have all those feelings come back is like, okay. And then my wife, she had this car that she was lending to other people because they were in need of a car, and she's a sweetheart. She's like, go on, use this car. Well, she got word that said car driver was driving it drunk and just mistreating it, and she neglected it and beat the crap out of it. Neglected to beat the crap out of it. This car is just beat. It comes back to us, and that car is a 2003 Chevy Cavalier base model. So it's got a 2.2 Ecotech motor, which is a dual overhead cam 4-cylinder with a 5-speed.
Okay.
So nothing special, only that little dent in the rear bumper. There's no rubber pad on the clutch, and her shoe was wet. She ended up slipping off the clutch and backing into her sister's house.
Oh no.
So she had sentimental value in the car. Not only that, but a couple other things. This was the car that she had to get around in, and she did. So I started building this car in around August, and in that time, we went back to the track. And when we did, I made it a point to go see make friends with the the top 2 drivers in the class I was entering. And these guys are like, oh, yeah. If you got any questions, we'll help you. And I actually tried go-kart racing before I did that. And I didn't make many friends. Okay. Like, I didn't know nobody that was the go-karts or like trying to build them or anything. As soon as I started building this car, though, I made a lot of friends. Okay. And a lot of these friends are like, yeah, we'll help you. We'll help you, and it's just super awesome. Like, you'd expect them to be like, the cold shoulder, like, oh no, right. I don't want to help you. You're my competition. No, these guys are like, hey, come on, come.
Yeah, just a sense of community, huh? Yeah, and then you actually go, So the building of the process was fun because I'm racing in what's called an all stock class. Okay. That means everything has to be stock. Stock air intake, stock springs, stock suspension, as long as it's stock. Okay. And so digging into the motor side of it, I put a stock Saturn intake on it. Okay. Because with that, instead of having a big airbox, it's more of a ram's horn, which picks up horsepower. Okay. And then I used a stock 2.4 liter exhaust manifold because it's pretty much a head exhaust header, bigger primers and whatnot. So, and then there's a couple more tricks to the trade, like I said, as long as it's stock, it's okay.
So stock meaning like it can be from another model that used that same engine. You can use it.
It's gray line. Okay. I'm also using Grand Am lower control arms on this car. Okay. The reason for that, so I can kick the bottom of the tire out a half inch, so I can we're allowed 1 inch of camber. So I'm running 1 inch of camber, cambered in, all the way around, because in this class, the equalizer, we run in the backwards direction. So, and the fun thing is nobody knows when it's going to happen. Okay. You don't know which direction you are going to go until you are onto the track. Oh, okay. And that's not it. Sometimes they will throw a caution to send you the other way.
No.
Middle of the race.
Just like rolling the dice.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. They call it like a sportsman caution or something, just so no driver can set their car up just to turn left. Okay. So this journey has been a lot of ups and downs. Like the cage that we're looking at. Yeah. I actually had to have the cage cut out.
Really? Why is that? How do you go about finding someone to do the cage? Why'd you have to get it cut out?
Okay, so this guy was an hour away from me, so I was already exhausted just from driving all, the guy's not a bad guy, the guy's super awesome, but anyway, so I tried to explain to him, like, look, what I'm looking for, okay, very high, very tight, and, and he just blazed it, knocked it out, Okay. He took a rough estimate of where I wanted to sit, mounted the seat, and he thought it was good. Until my experienced race car friends come and take a look. Okay. And they were like, you're sitting too high, the cage is too small, the cage needs back, it needs to be stretched out. Okay. And so then I'm like, okay, but you won the points championship last year. Who do you go to? Right. He goes, right. Well, I a guy in town called Emerson. I'm like, you're joking. That's 20 minutes. So, okay. So I take it to his shop, and he just doesn't make. Granted, he had 4 months to do it because of the corona happened and everything. Sure. He took his sweet time, but I didn't care. We stood it out. But yeah. yeah, so that was the whole story with it was okay, but the guy and I didn't seem like we were on the same page. Talking to the new cage guy, I'm like, look, this is what I'm looking for. He goes, yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. Okay.
I'm like, we're on the same page. You understand what I want. And, you know, it was really cool though. That's right there. That's where I got it all sanded.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cage is in.
Yeah, we're getting. Yeah.
The body.
The first cage is in.
Yeah, the first cage is in. The body's all sanded down. Yeah. What did your wife think of this as you started like just ripping body panels off and all of that? Like, was she okay with it?
Well, see, I had her blessing I made sure I got her blessing right from the get-go.
Okay.
Because it was like, look, we can either take this car to the junkyard for $75, right? Or we can make it a race car and advertise our business. Right. And she was like, I'm like, this is the way we can keep the car around, and really, really selling her on it and board. And she's like, okay. And sure enough, it took me, as soon as she said yes, an hour and a half later, I had the entire interior gutted except for the dash and the like, I had all the seats out, the carpet was out, headliner was out, like everything I could nicely. I took it apart nicely because I had an intention of selling all the interior bits.
Sure, of course.
Turns out nobody wants interior bits off Cavalier, so I ended up going in the dumpster instead. But
right,
yeah,
wow.
So she was definitely like, hey, that was my car. And then so another problem she had with this, she had a solemn oath to herself that she would never crawl through the window again.
Okay.
Because she had apparently she was locked out of the car. She had to crawl in and out the window. So she swore to herself she'd never do that again. I'm like, okay, so that means you're never driving this car again, because that's the only way you're going to be able to get in it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Since then, she's gotten over that, and she's gotten in it a couple of times, and now she wants to build a race car of her own. And I'm like, I support this, but we have to figure out transport, money wise, what we're gonna do, and all that.
I mean, it sounds like you just need to turn it into a Lemons car, and then you have 2 driver slots, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this looks amazing. Yeah. So, So you is this racing seat that you got used from somebody else?
Yep.
Okay.
I had a good friend of mine. He was like, "How?" He goes, "What's your waist size?" I'm like, I'm about a 32, and he's like, "Divide that in half." He goes, "I got a seat for you." I'm like, "Oh, huh?" He goes, "I got a seat for you," and he comes out and he goes, "Here you go." Sweet.
Okay.
So I kind of took that, and then the points championship friend of mine I had, he was all like, "Yeah, I'm tired of looking at this seat. You can have this one."
Nice.
Okay. The only difference between that seat and the one in the picture here is the one that he had the shoulder supports that I'm required to have.
Okay.
We're required to have shoulder supports. So that was the only difference there. So I ended up putting the other one in my car. And this seat here is now attached to a truck axle. And it's one of those twirly chairs now.
Oh, nice.
Nice. So, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. All right. And then obviously when it comes to paint and all that stuff, like, look who we're talking to here, right?
Well, this is the first time I've ever painted a car.
Okay.
So I'm nervous as all hell.
Sure.
So the paint scheme, I already knew the way I wanted to paint it in my head already. It was to memorialize one of my favorite drivers ever. His name was Kevin Doty. He was one of my favorites. In fact, I have a shirt with signed by him 6 times because every time we'd go to the races, I'd be like, sign my shirt.
Okay.
And, you know, I was just a little kid, and he's like, dude, I signed the shirt 6 times. I'm like, I know, you're my favorite. So, you know, and then unfortunately, one night about 10 years ago, he came off the final corner, flipped along the front stripe, and his head hit the interior guardrail.
Oh,
he
no.
was flown to the hospital and he passed away from the injuries. But he was one of my favorite drivers, and his car was red, white, and it had this really interesting, like, lightning into a stripe, into a checkered flag wheel, and that's what I wanted. I'm like, you know, one of my favorite numbers from going to the racetrack was 37.
Okay.
But when I started going to the racetrack again, it was, and there's a 37, there's a 37, there's a 37, there's a 37, you know, like you could hear that auctioneer going in your head.
Okay.
And it's like, this number's played out. Like, I don't want number 37. And I'm like, look, this is the paint scheme I want. I'm going to use his number too. Okay. And, you know, I ended up rocking the number 50. And, so this is the first time I've ever painted a car. So you can see in the first picture there, that stripe was very important the way I laid it out to me.
Yeah.
So because it dictated a lot of the paint scheme. Right. So you can see where all the primer tape lines are. You can actually see those in the final paint job. But I'm learning, you know. Right. I should have painted the whole car white and then planned the stripe, but it didn't work out that way, but
that's okay. Hey, man. Yeah. No, like
it turned out halfway decent for parts store paint is what I call it, because you know, it was ready to use. I'm just gonna name drop them. Duplicolor Paint Shop.
Yep.
It's also very easy to get for me. All I gotta do is drive to the parts store, grab a foam brush, and I can go to Town Paint and like just touch it up with a paintbrush now. And you know, so
wow.
Those numbers were very expensive and done by a vinyl printer. I ended up taking those off because they didn't jump out enough.
Okay.
So this here's when I finally got my racing wheels. I was really excited about.
Those wheels are awesome. I love them.
Yeah, so white wheels on that body look amazing.
Those are Diamond Racing Steelies. They were custom ordered to the spec that they allow. So in this series, we're allowed to run a racing rim if we want, that as long as it's 6 inches wide.
Okay.
So it can be a 13, 14, 15. We're running a 15 on the car because that's what the guys on the track are running. I had this is the new cage that's in it. As you can see, it's a little bit more robust.
Yeah.
He added some square tubing to the side.
Oh yeah, I see that. Some bash bars in.
Now that is in case I ever get door shot. It's not going to cave in the door. He also built me a front end bar. Bumper bar. It's a little bit stronger and it holds the bumper up a little bit better.
Dude, that thing looks boss.
Well, and what I noticed from your first cage is you didn't have support diagonally behind you, right?
Yep.
So
and those bars are actually required in the rules. So these guys, that's why I had my friends check it out, is like they were telling me, like, look, they might not even let you run because you're still missing some things. So when I had the second guy here do the cage, I'm like, look, I don't want to miss anything. I want it all. Like, I want the window bars. I want the bash bars. I want to be protected. Yeah. And then, of course, we had to get the tire shaved down to the proper tread depth, and we just burned through our first tire. So,
what tires are you allowed to run? Can you run like?
We have a $75 limit spending limit on tire. Not limit. Oh, let me rephrase that. $75 limit per tire.
Okay.
So we can run.
Not very much.
Yeah, but Walmart tires, like the tires are on there are $40 a piece.
Okay.
So it isn't bad. We cannot run things like winter tires or ice tires or anything like that. So it's got to be an all season tire. There is a hardness or like a tread rating. We can't go below a certain tread rating, but there's some good options. We try to keep it on the budget friendly side of things.
Sure. Yeah.
And how long do they last? Like a race, a season? Like how long do you get a season?
So the tires on it, like I said, I just wore through my right front because we do go, it's like a 60-40 really. We go 60 left, 60% of the time. Up until the racer meeting that we just went to a couple weeks ago, about a month ago now, because there's a few guys that are running very fast. I'm talking like these guys are running about 14.5s around a fifth mile.
Okay.
And to give you perspective, I'm in the 15.2s and 15.3s, and I'm amongst the slower, within 6 cars of the slower group. Mm-hmm. But so they're like, we are going to be running you guys both ways more often. Okay. So that means we might qualify going right, we might do heat races going right, or we might do features going right. So
is that on the suspicion that folks are setting them up for more left turning than right turning?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha. Okay,
because the one guy in particular I'm talking about, he doesn't do so good going right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So here's everything all put together. This is
okay. So now we got the late. I call it there was actually late model side skirts.
Okay.
They're $30 a piece, and they're dyed that color.
Oh, okay.
That is red plastic all the way through. It's not like painted plastic, but I thought that was really cool.
That looks awesome. Yeah.
We also found. Funny story about the front and rear bumper and the wing on this spoiler on this car is I went to my mechanic friend, just dropped in, say hi, shoot the crap with him, and I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna take a couple parts off this Cavalier you got on the hoist. I'll check you later. He goes, do you want something off this Cavalier? I'm like, no man, it's a customer car, forget it, I was just joking. He goes, this car's going to the junkyard in about an hour. I'm like, in that case, give me your tools because I need some shit. So I took the intake because when I was building the car, I was under the assumption that we could run a cold air intake.
Oh, okay.
After going to the meeting at the beginning of the year, they do not want to see that anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
So I ended up having to take the air box, the intake filter, the tube, and all that.
Sure.
I took front and rear bumper because it was a sport. So it had the built-in ground effects that I really wanted.
Yeah.
Got those on there. Got the back on there. Took the trunk lid and spoiler as well. I'm like, that's good. I don't need the side skirts. I got my own.
Dude, that's an awesome find, man. Yeah.
And then we got the Lexan front window.
Yeah.
We got Lexan quarter windows. Not required, just to jazz it up a little bit.
It looks awesome, man. It looks fantastic.
So, like, talk us through like a typical like race night. So, you get there, you got to do qualifying and all that. Do you get practice? How does all that work?
So practice starts. Okay, so the gates open at about 2:00. So I've tried to go when my car was broke, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, I have those pictures as well.
Yeah, or I tried to, because I picked up a day job with my dad. I'm working with my dad again. Okay. They offered me my job back at close to what I left at 4 years ago. So it's a little bit more consistent money during these times, and
sure.
My wife stepped up and run the shop. But I tried going to work on Sunday or Saturday morning, get done at 1:00, try to rush home and go to the racetrack. And I was miserable. I was happy I was at the racetrack, but I was tired all day. I'm like, there's no way I can, attempt a race in this condition. So we'll sleep, depending on how much work we got to do, we'll sleep in a little bit, get to the shop. We've developed a checklist because on our first night of racing, we forgot two of the most important things, and that is what's called a transponder, which records your lap times, and we forgot what's called a receiver, which allows the tower to communicate with you.
Right.
So the only thing that we could do was get the car off the trailer, unhook the trailer, and have my wife speed to the shop and come back, which was about a half hour away.
Right.
So an hour trip. So I went. So we got the car off actually, we forgot to pull the car off the trailer. So we go to let the trailer down on grass, and it sinks and falls. We're like, good thing the trailer car was still bolted down. So like, whatever, we jacked it up, got it back up, hooked it back up to the truck, unloaded the car, got the truck off, she ran. So I finally got out to practice a little bit. That was the first race day though. Let me back up a little bit. So we get the car fresh, fresh race car. We get out to practice days. We have about 3 practice days before the season opener.
Okay. So, just open lapping on the track.
Yeah. Just go out, get a feel for the car.
Test and tune.
I'm going with my friend. One's Brian and one's Chris. They're both brothers. Brian won the points championship last year. Chris is currently, as of today, the point leader right now.
Okay.
So I'm going with these guys, and I'm making sure I'm practicing with these guys. Like, hey guys, I'm not going to pass you. I'm just going to follow your line. So I'm having a blast. Like, I'm like, okay, this thing's got some pep. Like, all right, we're going around. So we get to the Thursday before the season opener. So we practiced one other time. Now we're to the day before the big show because Thursday rained out, so they moved the practice to Friday. So we get out there Friday. We go around about 2 times. Everything's fine. We go off for that 3rd time, coming off of 1 and 2, and I have no power.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
like I wouldn't say no power. I would say about half power. And I'm like, this isn't right. Like, I should be zooming, and I'm
unzoomed. Yeah.
So we pull it off I pull off the track, and I get to my trailer, and I almost hear like a rod knock. And I'm like, oh man, the motor went already. So I told my friend Brian, he's like, dude, I got a spare motor at the house. Just give me a couple $100 for it.
Sure.
Done. Get my car to his house. We ripped the motor out of his parts car. We ripped the motor out of my race car to find out it was just the clutch.
No way.
No. So just the clutch. There was a huge, about a quarter-size hole in the clutch disc. So we ripped out. Turns out I couldn't get a clutch disc until Tuesday. The race was tomorrow.
Right.
So I had to miss the season opener. And mind you, so I waited. The clutch disc came in. Mind you, my motor is out of the car. Parts are everywhere, and unfortunately, I didn't have all the help I was hoping for. But I called in a couple Hail Marys, and they came down and they helped me get the motor back in my car and to my shop where we were able to wire it back up and get it running.
Okay.
Like, that was the important thing. Let's get it running. And yeah, that comes with its own set of challenges because now if you guys both drive standard, if you were to go in 2nd gear, that is my 1st gear as of right now.
Okay.
If you guys were to go into 3rd, that is my 2nd gear.
Okay.
So,
what do you mean just like the way that the shift pattern changed? Or
yeah, it's almost like the shift pattern changed because instead of 1 being 1 is like 3, and then 2 is 1 and 3 is 2. So
How did that happen?
I don't know. I'm thinking the cables might have stretched or something, but so
Yeah, so the shifter linkage is all jacked up. So.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the important thing is I know where first gear is, I know where second, and reverse work.
Okay.
So I can get it on the trailer, I can get it off the trailer, it can move.
And typically during a race, do you ever touch third gear, or is this all like second gear driving?
This is pretty much put in first gear, get it rolling, go into second gear, and my hands come off the shifter, come back on the wheel, and then once I'm on the track, I put my foot on my left foot comes onto the brake, and I will just mind you, I have no power brakes, I have no power steering.
Sure.
It is 20. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, roughly what kind of speeds are you hitting on the track?
On average, we are running north of 55 and under 60. Okay. So I've averaged, or my transponder said we've been doing around 57 to 58 miles an hour.
Okay.
On a 50 mile.
On a 50-mile track?
Yep.
Okay.
Because the whole track is a quarter mile.
Right.
But we race the infield.
Right.
So there's a crossover in the infield, which makes up for a whole nother set of challenges because it's actually like reverse bank a little bit. So it's
off camber. Okay.
It's close to flat, if not tilted away from the center.
Gotcha.
So for training purposes, and then 1 and 2 is bank like a racetrack should be.
So you, how many races have you done total right now?
As of right now, I've done attempted to, successfully done 1.
Okay. Hey, we all have DNFs in our history, right? Yep. Yeah. Okay. So how many races are left in the season?
We have 2. We have 1 more race this weekend. Then we're off for 2 weeks, and then we're on to for 2 weeks, and then we are around the end of September. We go for the championship.
Okay. All right. So like
10 or 12 races total.
Okay. So you've recently worked through the most recent break on the car, which is a subframe break, right?
Oh yeah, well, we'll get to that one in a minute. So the first time I went out, qualified, and got to the heat race, and I thought the car was good. Get to the white flag, and I blow an ignition control module.
Okay.
So,
okay.
DNF. All right, so I get pushed on the trailer, or I get it home, put a new one on because the ignition control module is the coil packs ignition module. It's everything.
Right.
So swap it out, it runs fine. I'm like joking because if I had that part when I could run the feature.
Right. Yeah.
And now going to the next picture, that is the next time I went out, which was July 3rd. We were like, all right, well, we're feeling good again. Car's running fine. This was a day that we practiced, qualified, and then it downpoured on us.
Okay.
So we got soaking wet. So we had to go dry the track.
To dry it out, right?
Which was cool because the announcer was like, first car in any division to get out here and dry the track gets a free hot dog.
Oh, okay.
So you see
that's all I need. I'm out there in my old man sedan whipping it. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You see people like, I'm like, you guys hurry. And I personally, I'm a Speedway burger guy because those Speedway burgers are delicious.
Oh man, they're the best, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we get them driving the track, and then we have to line up for heat. And I hear that CV axle click.
Right. The click.
As I'm reversing, I'm like, okay, I just pray that was only in reverse. So I get out to the track, and I am inside second row.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'm not in a bad position. I ended up taking the lead and leading a lap. So I'm all like, oh, I'm up front, yeah. Well,
Oh, no.
then the guy behind me, we actually just became like friends. He gets in front of me, so I tucked behind him after we crossed the finish line, and I thought I hit him square. Well, turns out I hit him a little left than I should, and his car went up. His car came down and almost spun right into the wall.
Oh my God.
Scratch. I'm like,
Whoa.
and then no sooner than that happened, karma struck and broke the CV axle, cracked the subframe, and I don't know if you guys, I call it a subframe horn, but you guys can see there's a that brace right there.
Yeah.
Hey, that brace right there was actually broke. There's a tab on the end of it. But that tab broke off, and then this this left side here pushed out due to that crack, I'm assuming.
Was that from the CV? Was that from the CV axle, like spinning around and like knocking stuff?
Or did it move enough that the CV axle was
due to the rust hole. Mind you, I couldn't see that rust hole because of the power steering rack was there. But I think because of that rust hole, that frame, that horn, or that section walked out.
Yeah.
And as soon as it walked out, my lower control arm's attached to that. So I think it just kept walking out, and it pulled that CV axle right out to the point where that tire was touching the body.
Yeah, I have that picture pulled up. Yeah, the tire, it was shifted. Yeah.
Yeah. And the entire time I was putting it back together, I was like, please tell me this fixed it. Please tell me this fixed it. So I go to my parts card, because I bought a parts card for like a couple $100. All I need was brake lines, but it has everything. And I'm like, okay. So I go to that thinking, all right, man, the subframe's junk. I can fix this.
Right.
Turns out it has the same freaking hole.
Oh,
and I'm like,
okay.
I'm like, I ain't playing this game again.
Right, right.
Oh, no. So we ended up ordering one on eBay from Washington. I think it was Oregon, but yeah, it was Oregon. And it came a couple days later. I'm like, thank God, because if it would have came on Friday, I would have had to miss another week of racing.
Sure.
So talking to my mechanic friend who did all the roll cage on my car, and I was telling him about this, he goes, because the axle is connected to the wheel bearing, replace the wheel bearings too.
Oh, okay.
Like, makes sense. So we replaced the wheel bearings, we replaced both CV axles, and then we put this new subframe in, and we had good fun on the next race day.
Yeah, everything ran really well, I would say, because here's you with the checkered flag.
And right there, I'm actually in the car yet, but I am shaking. Like I'm just like,
yeah.
So this was one of those times where I thought I was screwed, because I was traditionally I was outside second row.
Okay.
That is until we got onto the track and they sent us in reverse.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. I know that wasn't sure on the guy in front of me and how fast he was. I didn't see much of him, but I wasn't sure. But the other guy, I think I was a little bit faster than. I'm like, okay, so we'll see how this plays out. And turns out the guy in front of me, he ended up walking as soon as we got out of the corner, and I walked right by him, and I didn't look back. Well, I did look back, and I saw I had breathing room, so I'm like, just relax.
Yeah, it's your race to lose at that point.
Yep, and then I kind of really egged out my laps, and just kind of, put it in the corner and let the car walk out, come back into the corner. And the only way I could describe racing a fifth mile is it feels like a constant state of turning, because the wheel's never really straight.
How many laps are in a race?
So this was a heat race. It was only 6 or 8 laps.
Okay.
8 laps? Okay. My wife said it was 8 laps.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was 8 laps. And so the only reason I get confused is because I was like, scoreboard, hey, I'm really in first place. There's 5 laps. Are we 5 laps in or 5 laps to go? A couple of times around again, I look back up. 3. There's 3 more laps to go. I'm in first place. And the announcer there, oh my God, I love the announcer there. Because he was kind of cracking jokes, like he's like, it's all about water in your top 4. You got your Whitewater, Watertown, Waterloo, Whitewater. Nice. And he goes, I don't know. And you got Jefferson in the back. And then so we come down to 2 laps, and I'm catching the last place. And you hear the announcer goes, the announcer freaks out, like, and the 42 struggles to stay on the lead lap. And like, mind you, I am like full on butt clenched.
Yeah.
So can you actually hear the announcer in the car?
I can't hear anything.
I was going to say.
My car is not quiet because the exhaust ends right after the B pillar there.
Right.
Oh, wow.
It just has to drop behind
so
there. Yeah.
The exhaust is pointing down, but it is like literally right underneath me. So I can't hear the announcer. I got like a little earbud in my ear, helmet on and everything. And oh my God, so I go to pass this lap car, and I'm full on clenched because like I didn't lift or nothing. I just buried it into the corner and like kind of tucked underneath him, and I'm like, please see me. We might rub a little bit because I'm coming in hot. But he ended up giving me the room I needed, and I ended up crossing the line.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah,
that is so cool.
Definitely. It's been some of the most fun I've had in a long time, and to go through all those breakdowns and having to push the car on the trailer every night, like I don't know if you can imagine that, Ian, like breaking an oil pan every day or every weekend and having to push your car onto a trailer every weekend.
I don't know which one of the two of us could relate with that, Ian. I mean,
it's a real stretch of my imagination.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, that was a pretty similar story to like what my dad went through with the jump car.
Yeah,
with Maserati, right?
Right, it's just breaking stuff, and then finally you kind of get those grounds worked out.
And that like that feeling that you get, like that, like I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I'm enjoying every microsecond of it, right? Yeah,
exactly. Right. Well, not only to mention, but there's only 4 of 6 bolts holding on that subframe. So because I tried to pull them from the parts car because there's 2 more bolts that go on the outside. One of them broke, or like when we were trying to take it off, the first one off of that car, and then the other one, I don't know where it went, so I can't find the bolt that goes there. So It's like there's only I have the 2, I guess, most important, or the 4 most important bolts holding this thing on.
Right.
So
and like all that stuff stays in your head, right? Like, or like, oh, I hope I did torque that part down. Like,
exactly. And not only that, but I was having axle problems because I got in this car all buttoned up and ready to go. And as soon as they hit the ground, I go to get in the car, flip the button, start it up, go to move it, and nothing. It didn't go anywhere. I'm like, what the hell?
Okay.
So I had to tear the wheel off again to find out the axle had popped out of the transmission.
Ah, there you go. Okay.
So then I had to kind of like, I took my my parts store rented, permanently owned now axle puller.
Right.
Had to, like, it was basically a 5-pound hammer with a claw on the end for slide it on axles, and out they come real easy. I used it in reverse this time, and I'm like, get in there.
Right.
And it worked. We finished first place in the heat race, which was of the slower 6 cars. So that was just like the icing on the cake, though, like to win that, and like overcome all those like hurdles.
Yeah.
Because this car had 200K on it.
Right.
The motor I put into it, so this is a used motor I have into it.
Right.
It has 200K on it.
But
and
it all came together, man. That's so awesome.
That's great.
Yeah.
Are you think you're gonna stay in this class, or do you have aspirations to move up to another class, or?
Well, that was so the whole reason why I asked for the type of cage I have is because so basically what I asked for was an international cage, which is the faster 4-cylinders. I asked for a detuned version of that.
Okay.
This way, if I want to move up because this car can be an international. The international is a faster 4-cylinder class. So all I would have to do is cut more weight out, add some more bars, and it's an international.
Okay.
Well, it's recommended you play with the motor and you build it up a little bit.
Sure.
But a lot of the guys racing out there have stock motors.
You have the platform to get you there, though.
Right. But I have a good platform to get me there, like you said.
Yeah.
And but the guy that my buddy Chris, who's the point leader, he's been racing this class for a couple of years now.
Sure.
And, he's like, he goes, I've tried the internationals. He's like, I've tried the 6-cylinder class. He goes, I just don't have as much fun as I do with this car.
I can see why. It seems like such an accessible, it seems like just kind of like an evolution of go-karting.
It really is. I mean, don't be shocked about this, but I race with a 13-year-old.
No, yeah, right. Yeah.
And this 13-year-old is fast because he started in what's called a bandolero.
Sure.
Which, I don't know if you guys seen those, but they're like go-karts on steroids.
I'll see if I can pull one up.
You might have to look up.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
He started in those, and so Inex. That's who makes the cages in them. Inex.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the kid's got some racing experience. You can be at least I have armpit hair, and just I
think you guys would be quite hard to fit in those.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I've he started off in those, and there's another 13-year-old racing hobby stocks, which is a V8 class, and I'm like, dude, that's cool, man. Can you
imagine taking your driver's ed test after you've been racing as a 13-year-old?
Actually, I've heard from people who've had experience that it's actually harder for them.
Okay.
Because they go back to relying on their racing knowledge,
right? And
then they try to apply that to the street.
Right. Versus us that have street knowledge first.
Right.
Yeah. Nice, man.
So, my first wife was completely against me racing, and the wife I have now, she's absolutely a sweetheart, and she told me I can keep the Trans Am, I can build a race car, and my reply was, we're getting married. Because that is a special type of woman right there, man.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. We're so happy to have you on the show, man. It's so great to talk to you, Jonny. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I like spending time with you guys so much that I sent you guys a little FMK cars.
Yeah, what do you say we do that and close up the show? Yeah,
that sounds good. So, just for fun torture, Ian, what are your last 3 rental cars?
Oh, okay. So I just had a Chevy Suburban.
Okay.
I had a Chrysler Pacifica, and then I had a Ford Explorer.
Oh, geez. Okay. Not the typical Ian rental fare. Okay.
No,
so
these are all for camping trips with the family. So I got to get the big cars so I don't have to worry about packing.
Okay. So a Chevy Suburban, a Pacifica. Okay.
And a Ford Explorer.
And a Ford Exploder. Okay. Okay.
Which, by the way, the V6 and the Ford Explorer, terrible.
Okay. What do you think, Johnny? You think those cars will work for this one?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
All right. So the title of this one is called "Your Wish Is My Command with a Twist."
Okay.
All right. So I saw this little game on Facebook. It was basically you may wish for something, and the other person is going to grant that wish, but with a curse. So, for example, here you can wish for, you can wish to fly, but the curse might be you have diarrhea every time you fly.
Okay. All right.
So, and then I think it'd be fun for you guys to go back and forth on what the curse is and what the wish is and what the curse is.
Okay. So the car is the wish, and then so if I present this to Ian first. Okay.
Nope. So the car is what you get. Now you may wish for the best gas mileage or whatever you want.
Okay.
So you may wish for the most comfortable seat so you can camp in it, but anytime you sleep in it, you're covered in ants or something.
Okay.
So.
All right. So Dave, you go ahead and because I feel like let's just play to type. You give the good news and I'll give the bad news to go along with it. I mean, let's not reinvent the wheel here, right?
So we're obviously marrying the Chrysler Pacifica.
Well, no. So you need to say what the twist is. So the good twist, and I give a bad twist.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sorry, I'm being so dense about this.
So the car is a Chrysler Pacifica.
Okay.
Dave, what would be your wish?
Okay, yes. So my wish would be an infinite battery so that it operates at that hybrid power level all the time.
Okay.
Right? Okay.
Right. Right. What would be a curse?
My curse is going. Yeah, if I grant that wish, I am going to say that none of the doors are operational.
We have to get in through the sunroof?
Sunroof or window only.
Race car!
Race Pacifica. Okay. So we have a Pacifica with amazing power, but all the doors are sealed shut. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Pacifica. All right. Okay.
All right, so now the Suburban. Okay.
All right, Dave, what would be your wish on the Suburban?
Okay, I really like this. This is fantastic.
Or should we mix it up? Or should we go Ian? No.
Okay, so let's see. I want a Chevy Suburban. Let's see here. I want a Chevy Suburban I want it to be bagged. I want to be able to hard park that thing and just pop it straight onto the ground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing I'm going to say with this Chevy Suburban. So we just got done with our big road trip we had the Suburban for it. And the best thing about it is, Johnny, as you know, having a multitude of children that you're responsible for, they require a lot of stuff. And so packing for a road trip, it's so nice to be able to just stand in the street and throw all of your belongings into it without any care in the world of what
Tell me you have those dad grunts and
yeah.
Yeah. No, I've always said my life didn't change that much when I had kids. I just say the phrase, I gotta go unload the car a lot more.
Okay.
So the bad news with this particular Suburban, since we're already removing practicality by bagging it, is you're limited to a backpack.
Okay.
That is the largest item you're allowed to put in there is one standard backpack.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ford Explorer. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and play to this car's strengths. Everyone that you pull up behind on the highway thinks that you're a cop and they get the fuck out of your way. So,
unfortunately, the police officers also think you look slightly like a cop. So you will get pulled over for impersonating a police officer.
God damn it. Okay. All right.
All right, Dave, you go first.
Man, I feel like I need to like limber up and like do some stretches to get in the Pacifica, like just to like take a running start and yoga my whole 6'4" body into that car. Yeah. I think I'm gonna marry the Pacifica just on entertainment value alone.
Yeah, I like it.
Dave, how tall are you?
6'4". Yeah.
6'4", crawling through a window.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, it's basically like that when I get in most cars anyway. Like I typically kind of have to pretzel. I sat. Yeah. I sat in a Spiker C8 one time, and I actually had to use my hands to move my knee to get in and out of that car. Yeah, it required leverage. And then I think for a day, I want a hard park Suburban. I want a Suburban on bags. Like, I think I'll do that for a day. And
okay, but what if you could only have a fanny pack?
I'm still doing it. Yeah, I'm just like chapstick and taffy in there, and that's all I need, man. Yeah. What
about you, Johnny? What would you do?
Yeah, what would you do with these options?
Oh, I don't know. I think I'd have to like marry the bourbon, because I do love a hard park bourbon.
Right? Yeah.
And then
I'm Googling
for a day,
bourbon.
I might have to go with the Explorer though.
Okay.
Dangerously.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. I would crush the Explorer with impunity, just immediately.
Okay.
And then it's close between the other two. I think I would end up marrying the Suburban. I think that's the right answer.
Okay.
Impractical in a V8. I think that's exactly what the dream is anyway. So
yeah,
that's what I would get.
Yeah, that's your butter zone, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then for a day, I would just take running leaps into the Pacifica, and then also just like play basketball with my 2-year-old in through the sunroof.
Yeah, there you go. Just pad the interior. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And exterior in case you're not a good shot.
And I wouldn't be.
I guess then Kobe would apply either way.
Right, exactly.
Yep. Well, that's fantastic, Johnny. That is such a great way to do FMK cars. Yeah,
I like that.
That is so good. Yeah, and it's been
I thought it was fun.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sending us all the FMK cars and pictures over the years. Anybody that needs automotive detail work done, give us the rundown of like the services that you guys offer.
Well, I basically, to sum it up, we can clean vehicle inside out. We can also protect the vehicle for many years. With the evolution of what's called ceramic coatings now, they can protect your paint, they can protect your clear coat. Old reference though.
Yeah. Wish we had that a while ago. Yeah.
So what ceramic coating is basically a hand applied clear coat. It can protect you from UV, scratches, chemicals. Also, what it boils down to is just easier to clean, really. So
you guys can apply ceramic coat. Yeah, you can clean interiors. You've sent us some cars that, dear God, man. Johnny. Yeah.
Trust me, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Since I gotten my wife into it, I've been cursed at just a couple of times because I've had to show her what I see.
Right.
And especially when it comes to paints, there's a thing called buffer trails. Why don't you search up buffer trails?
I don't know if I want to.
It's clean. It's PG.
Okay. All right. Buffer trails. Okay. All right. Oh yeah. Like the.
You might go to images.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay.
I've seen that before. Yeah.
What a buffer trail is, it's this waviness, as you guys can see in some of these pictures. It's that waviness from not enough product on your buffing pad.
Yeah.
That creates these holograms and swirls that really kind of it makes the paint dance.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't look good,
Right.
by any means, but yeah, I mean, it kind of, I had to show her what these are, and there's been a couple of times where she's cursed me out, like, I see everything now, and she's just just crying.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to help him. She's like, I want to. So
yeah, the eyes open. So attention for detail, right? Mm-hmm. And then the race, your racing team is called
Detailed Motorsports.
Detailed Motorsports. That's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. Try to come up with something. I mean, something better than your last name. Racing.
Right.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it was. I thought about Apex Adjacent Racing, but that's just too long.
No, you would break down every race. Yeah,
you would.
Yeah. Your car would catch on fire right now. Yeah.
But it's been an absolute blast. Like I said, I've tried doing the go-kart thing, and it didn't pan out. I just didn't know enough people. Like, if I lived in Colorado with you guys, it might have been a little different. We could all have our own go-kart racing track somewhere.
Yeah, right.
But
hey, but you found your home for the time being, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I'm really surprised with the amount of camaraderie in the pits. Like, everybody feels like a family down there. Like, there's your people who you might view as competition are actually helping you out.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
And it was pretty funny one night, before we got all into this, I asked a woman who races with us. I was like, look, I'm just trying to figure out what I'm getting into. Do you sign a lot of autographs? And she goes, of course we do. We sign about 200-300 a year. And she goes, it depends on if you have candy. Okay. My mind twisted that a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, here's my hauler, and it was one of those free candy vans. So, okay, yeah, like I said, it's been an absolute blast.
That's awesome, man.
This is something I've always wanted to do. My I think he's a grandfather or something on my dad's side. Is actually famous for dirt track racing. Okay. He was actually awarded he was called the most winningest sprint car driver. So that was really cool, and I kind of always felt like it was in my blood. Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Well, definitely, you got to keep us posted on that. And everybody, if you're in southern Wisconsin and use your car detailed, there's the man to do it.
Absolutely.
If you guys and if anybody else wants to be on the best podcast ever, just message these two.
And we'll get you in contact with whoever runs that.
Like I said, I'm in a position right now where I can literally I put my earbuds in and I can listen to you guys for hours.
We appreciate it. And my goal someday is to just Ian's R32 is just going to pull up on a truck for you to just do your magic on. Right? Yeah.
I can do magic, but I can't do miracles.
Right. We'd send it to paint first. Yeah.
Okay. Send it to paint first, and I'll make it look pretty.
Yeah. So I have like an old water jug, like a 5-gallon water jug back there. I call that my 401k. I put coins in it. That's what I'm saving up to do with Ian's car. Yeah.
How about your puppies? Do your puppies ride with you, Dave?
No puppies. Yep.
Because I can imagine those dogs are a little big for your car.
yeah, right.
That's good. Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, there's been times where the wife and I will spend hours just removing pet hair.
Oh, and, dude.
It's just the worst.
Yeah, pet hair. So absolutely look up Jonny. We can't thank you enough for doing this show for us. We had an absolute blast.
Anytime, guys. I think we should do it again sometime.
You bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's ever a detailing emergency.
yeah. We'll just box you up and ship you out, right?
No, just shine the light in the sky.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. Awesome, man. Well, cool.
All right, Johnny. Thank you so much.
Hey, guys,
I'm sure we will be talking again soon.
Oh yeah. Let's do this again soon.
You bet.
All right.
See you. Bye.
Cool. Talk to you later. Bye.
Yep.